Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to dive into design system variables. Why do they matter in Figma? How can we use them to make our design workflow better and smoother? So let's just jump right in. I am sharing my screen in Figma, and what you notice is we have, again, a couple of tabs. One tab is all about the numbers. If you're not a math person, I will go ahead and explain all these numbers and how I basically calculated them in terms of variables. Again, this video is purely for design system variables. So before you even start, creating your typography components, your buttons, your containers, you need to have like a system in place. So I have my collection created. I broke them down into fonts, and then a couple of them are number variables, which is spacing, letter spacing, typography, line height, and then if I expand the line height, we have 5 different line heights. I'll get into that. You can store percentages in Figma as of now, so we have to work our way around how can we do percentages in Figma. Also, we have width, again, another number collection, and then the last 4 are basically color variables. And when it comes to spacing, you have to come up with a unit of system for yourself. So I started with 4 as my base value, and then I incrementally make it higher and higher. Or you don't want to incrementally make it higher, you can go each 4 pixels and make it higher. So how do we get these numbers? So if I go to Excel, again, you can use any software, Google Sheet, any software that you're comfortable with. Or if you don't want to use any software and you don't like math, you can just follow what I have here. But I again encourage you to come up with your own system. Necessarily, you don't need to follow what I'm doing for myself. You can again follow your own system and be creative, because you're the designer and your company might follow different rules. But for now, my increment is 1.25, and then I'm using this increment and I have my core values. So here I have 4 again is my base value. If I click 5, you see 5 is actually not a number. I'm using the previous number, which is 4, and then I'm multiplying it to 1.25. And if I click on for example, 10, if I click it, again, I'm using the previous number and I'm multiplying it to the increment of 1.25. And what you also notice is here, I'm starting my typography from the increment of 12, because I don't think you want to have a font size that is like 4 pixels. This is basically not readable. So it really doesn't make sense for you to have font sizes that are like between 4 to like 10 pixels. Again, 12 pixels is also small, but it is readable. So I have my typography starting from 12. So if I click 12, it's actually referencing B7, which is the core value. Also, if I take a look at the spacing, if I click any of them, it's actually referencing the core line. So here, these core values are all calculated all the way to 4,000 incrementally. That means if I actually decide to have a different increment, let's say 1.5, as soon as I press return on my keyboard, all the number gets updated here in the Excel. However, this is not linked to the Figma, so if I ever decide to change this, I have to actually go to Figma and change all of these one by one. So again, this is not linked in any shape or form to Figma. So here I can go back to 1.25 and have my increments created this way. So for spacing, again, I'm using spacing all the way up till 114. For my typography, I'm only grabbing these increments from 12 all the way to 73. So how do they look like in Figma, and then how do these spacing look like? So spacing from 4 to 114, I gave them some names. So if I go back to Figma and if I click spacing, again, I have 4 as my like 3 extra small. Again, you can come up with any name you want, all the way to 114, and that is 9 extra large. So I have a naming convention like a medium, large, and small. So anything that goes below extra small, I'll just give it 1x, 2x, and then all the way to 3 extra small. And anything that goes above extra large, I would just keep adding 2x, 3x, and then make it extra large. Also, if I highlight all of them and basically edit them, you see I'm only scoping it to corner radius and gap and nothing else. And this is how I am using this column, which is the C column, and this is how I incremented it all the way. And if I now go ahead and look at the typography, I'm using this calculation from 12 to 73. So if I go back to the Figma design system, if I close this and now go to my typography collection, I actually renamed them differently. So for my smallest one, I gave it a caption, which is 12 pixels. And then here I have a paragraph. And if your product is a web development product, this is exactly the HTML version of it. So you have H1 to H6 tags in HTML, and you have a paragraph tag. You don't have a caption tag, you actually have a small tag, and then you don't have a lead tag. So this is lead and caption are the 2 extra that I added right before the paragraph and right after H1. So these sizes make sense to me, so I can highlight them, edit them, and as you can see, I'm only scoping this to the font size. But you notice that font size is good. I'm actually using the increments here, but for letter spacing, I'm totally using a different increment because you don't want to have even a 4 pixel letter spacing is very huge. It makes your letters very wide and spread out, and it's basically unreadable. So for letter spacing, you need to have a different treatment. So that's why I have my base value as 0.25, which is a very tiny fraction of number 1. And then if I click on the second one, you see that again, I'm taking the previous value, which is highlighted as blue, and I'm multiplying it to 1.25. Again, you can always use these values in the screen that I have if you don't want to do the math. But as you notice, I'm not using all of them. I'm only basically picking the top 3 or top 4, and I do the negative version for letter spacing. So if I go to the core and if I click on letter spacing, I have 0 as my middle value, and I choose basically 4 minuses extra small to 3x as my negative values. And same thing for my large values, I'm using the positive value of the 0.25 all the way to 0.49. And if I highlight all of them and basically do scoping, I only scope it to letter spacing. And line height, again, is a bit of a different treatment. Line height takes your actual typography value. Here we have 12 pixel, which is the typography value. As you can see, I added some dummy text here. If I click on my dummy text, you see it is wrapped to the multiple lines as I make it smaller and larger. And this line height, if I click on it, it's actually set to auto in Figma. But for line height, we want to use percentage. If we want the line height to be 0, it's basically using 100%. So if I add 100% and press return, you see I have 0 spacing between my line breaks. And that's how it's being measured and calculated. Again, you can add percentage values in Figma as of now, so we have to calculate these. Again, if you do 150%, if I press return on my keyboard, it's 1.5 times the font size. And that is how the percentage value is calculated in Figma when it comes to line height. This also works exactly in the web development. They use percentage values. However, in Figma, we have to calculate them manually. So that's why I had to create all these sets of variables. So for 100%, it's fairly straightforward. I'm using exactly the same values. But for 125%, so I have to take the paragraph value and add 1.25 to it. So again, the way I calculate it is I have my line height, and here I'm referencing the typography, which is on the left side on the column D. So if I click my cell on line height, I'm referencing the typography version and I'm multiplying it by 200%, which is in this example too. And this is all the line heights for me, all the way from caption, all the way to H1 and H6. So if I want to calculate all of the pixel values for 1.25, and if I press return, now I get the updated version of the line height. So I have to take that and go back in Figma and keep updating it. Again, what you notice is I'm exactly using the same naming convention, caption all the way to lead, to make sure I am using the correct line height. So if I now click on my typography for my pixel value, I can select my variable, and now I'm only able to select for my typography category, or in this example, it's collection in Figma. So now let's say I select H6. Now this is H6, so I can now select on my line height. So if I want the space to be 150%, I can search for 150, and now I'm filtered by 150. Now I can select the corresponding line height, which is H6, and then once I select it, I have 150% added for me. This is a bit of a manual process. I'm not a big fan of it. I much rather just have only 5 variables and give them percentage values, and regardless of my typography, I can just use those percentage values. Hopefully Figma releases an update. And for width, you usually have, again, smaller width containers, maybe like a 16 pixels, but here I'm basically referring to it as the width of a card. So for this one, I'm starting with 114 all the way to 2000. Also, if you don't want to use Excel, you can actually ask ChatGPT or any AI software. And again, I first gave it this prompt that, hey, my base value is 4. I want you to increment it by 1.25, and then this is the formula I want you to use, and generate basically 40 rows. The AI did that, but it was first generating increments of 5, and this is not what I wanted. So I just told it, no, this is wrong. Make sure to use this as a base value, and for row 1, do the base value and then times the increment. For row 2, make sure to add the row 1 and then time the increment. And then finally, I just told it generate a table with 40 rows, and it actually generated the correct formula. So this is again the same exact values but with the decimals. But in Excel, I actually rounded it up. So instead of using 6.25 or 7.8, I use 8 pixels. So it took 40 seconds for ChatGPT to solve all of this. I just wanted to show you guys another alternative. If you're again not comfortable with using an Excel software to generate your increments, you can manually calculate them using a basic calculator, or you can ask ChatGPT or another AI software to create a table row for you. Both option works. But as of now, none of these options are actually linked to Figma. So all of these are actually manually inputted. So if you ever decide to change your value, you have to always go back and update the Figma. That's just the only downside that you need to keep in mind. I have to mention, in Figma, you can actually reference variables. So for this one, instead of manually putting 12, you can actually go ahead and reference another variable. However, it's not that automated like Excel. So if I decide to change my increment, it's not going to change all the variables for me, because I can't actually type an Excel formula or any type of function in this value cell. I can only add number or reference other variables. But again, hopefully down the line, Figma adds a capability so you can add formulas here. So instead of manually inputting all of this, you can actually write a formula in a variable and all the other cells would reference that. Also, percentages would be an added bonus for Figma.